You.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Not a Lonely Coffee Break podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Megan. We're a podcast about coffee and work, but make it queer.
My goodness, Megan. I just continue to love when we get together and record these episodes. I have so much fun with you.
Me too. I often dread just like work in general, but I never dread these episodes, so that's nice.
No. Well, and there's been like so much going on. That's all I can say. There's been so much going on, and it's just like every day, it's like wham, wham, wham.
Hmm.
And so being able to just talk about things that we like to talk about, um,
It's refreshing.
yeah, it gives me a good break from all the crappiness.
Yeah, I had a meme the other day and it said, paraphrasing, it said, I like how we're 3 weeks into the year and everyone's at their absolute limit.
I know, like we're already ready for 2025 to be over.
Yeah.
Well, and okay, so before we hit 2025, I was seeing this stuff go around and I was like, ha ha ha, that's so funny. But it's like for real.
But for
2025, we started the year off on the day's WTF.
oh,
And so I think
signs.
it was, yeah, I think it was like a prediction
Yeah,
of what's to come.
that'll be interesting. I need a true horoscope. I need someone to read my future, please. Give it to me real. Give me the truth. I want to know.
Only if it's good though.
Lie to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So make up something so that it's good.
Yeah, that's fair.
Today has just been a rough day, Megan. And I know we were chatting
Yes.
about this earlier because I know both of us have been sort of exploring the current job market.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we're getting a lot of what I'm calling ghosting.
Yeah, I
Like
would
we're
agree.
applying and not hearing back. Or at least that's my experience at
Or you
least.
get the template of thanks for your interest. See you later.
Mhm. Well, I just honestly, I feel like I've gotten more companies that have like ghosted me after
Oh, yeah.
applying. And I don't know, maybe I just haven't been in positions that were hiring positions
Right.
a lot. But to me, that's like not professional
Mm,
for you to not even send like a thanks but no thanks email. Like at least the companies that I'm getting we're pursuing someone else, at least I know.
right. And you can just mark it off your list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like some of these other places that I've noticed, like I'll submit an application and like I'm qualified, I've got all the stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. And so I am just like, is this kind of like the new
Yeah,
practice?
especially because a lot of recruitment doesn't ask, they tell you, hey, don't call us. We'll call you.
Mhm.
Don't
Mhm.
follow up. Just wait. Go look in the portal.
Mhm.
Where when I would say what, when I was entering the workforce at 18, a lot of the time you had to follow up. Like if you weren't following
Mhm.
up, you probably weren't, they were like, well, they're not following up, so we're going to go ahead and just take them off, right?
Yeah, they
Um,
would say like once you apply, you send a follow-up email like after I think I was told like 48 hours.
mhm,
And then if you get an interview, you do a follow-up even after the interview.
exactly.
And I just don't see that anymore.
Yeah, I don't think that's something I definitely want to hear from a recruiter or yeah, recruiting professional, like how the waters have changed as far as like what
Yeah.
is hiring etiquette now, you know?
Mhm.
Because a lot of it is
Mhm.
just being on portals and updating your information and just saying, "Hey, I'm interested in this," you know, and just waiting the long wait.
Mhm.
It
Well, and
can
then
it, I think it messes with your I don't want to say ego, but confidence, right? Like
yeah.
did
Mhm.
I put everything I needed on the
Yeah.
resume? Did I fill out
Mhm.
something wrong? You know, what?
Mhm.
Answer me this. So, I think
No,
it
yeah.
definitely busts on that.
No, I think it does. But I think I don't know. I'm hearing this a lot from people that it now also has a lot to do with like you knowing
Hmm.
the right people as like your foot in the door.
Right.
Um and I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. I mean, like as an employer, it's like it's a comfort level, right? I can always go back to the person who referred this other person and be like, that was a bad referral or that was a good referral. Next
Right.
time, this is what I'm looking for. And so I get
Right.
that, but yeah, I mean, for those that are just trying to just find a job, like just start
Mhm.
somewhere new, maybe change a different career path, like that can be extremely difficult, especially if you're already working full time. You don't really have that kind of time to network.
I think that can apply in a variety of settings. Like in the one I've been thinking about is like networking with people who can help maybe get me a position,
Hmm.
um, like a job. Um, but then if you already have a job, maybe it's networking with people to build partnerships and resources and all of that
Information.
information. It can be exhausting.
That's something that I find I do find it exhausting because sometimes I like to
Mhm.
think that I am an extrovert. We think about extrovert, introvert, and my social battery. But if you're networking all the time and you're meeting new people all the time, like you get very overloaded. You're like,
Mhm.
is this person a really good, like, is this a good fit for me? Like, are they even going to be a future partner? Things like that. And honestly, it can be mentally overbogging you. So it's, a lot of people who are very tactical about their networking. They'll only go to certain happy hours, or they'll log who they're meeting, and basically put them in, like, well, I say they. I used to do this. But I would seriously, I instead of, because now
Are you that someone?
I'm that someone. Secret. Um, but basically, I would have, because people would hand you their business cards. What do you
Mhm.
do with those business cards? Are you throwing them in a pile? Are you putting them at the bottom of your purse and just never looking at them? And I literally had a binder where I would put these business cards in, and then I would log information as far as like how I met this person, what do they do, what services do they provide. Of course, I was, nonprofit working, but I found myself going through that booklet every once in a while and being like, okay, I need this or I need that. I need to retouch this, and meet up with this person. And it worked, but it is very exhausting, to be
That is a
proficient at it.
lot. That is a lot of work.
Maybe it worked okay for me.
I'm glad it worked good for you.
Because
I I just recently kind of got downsized this because I was like, no, I don't even use this. I used to collect business cards and I felt like I was low key hoarding them.
mhm,
I would get business cards and I had a little box that I would keep them in. Every so often I would go through that box, but usually I would, at least when I was working in the nonprofit space, after I would go to the networking event or the social or someone gave me a business card, if it was someone that like aligns with like our mission or whatever, and the agency is an agency that our agency can partner with, it makes sense.
mhm.
Then I would actually send them an email to say, hey, it was nice meeting you, blah, 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 blah. Let's grab lunch or whatever. And then that way their email was just saved in my, directory or
Right.
whatever. And then I would still keep the business card because I'd be like, I don't want to get rid of it.
I
They spent money
know.
on it.
They do spend money. It's a lot to get their business cards. And I love business cards because it makes it feel so official. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen American Psycho? And I don't know if it's a meme, okay? And they're literally judging each other based off their business cards. I don't go that far, but I think they're
I do like a
professional.
nice business card.
Yeah.
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 I do sometimes get business card envy.
Mhm.
But I am starting to notice recently some of the things I've been to where, it's like a networking event or whatever. I'm noticing more people are using like the digital type of cards where like you tap your phone to theirs
Hmm.
and then all of their stuff is just automatically added to your phone, which is cool. But I feel like if maybe you don't have like a business phone or whatever, you may not necessarily want all that information in
On
your
your
personal
phone.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting for sure, and
I've never
definitely would save money.
Yeah, I've never actually tried the digital one. I think, well, I tried making one. I just never got into it. It was just difficult for me, or just like, here, scan my phone, and I could never do it so casually. So maybe that's my
Mhm.
age. I'm aging out of the technology. So I prefer the business cards, but I know a lot of people do use them because you can tag your link tree on them. You can put your
Mhm.
Instagram, your LinkedIn, your website, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Which is a lot more than what you can fit on a business card. Um,
Mhm. What kind of networking events are like your favorite kind of events to like meet people at?
I prefer happy hours because it helps relax me.
Holla.
No, I like those when I was going to them pretty frequently. I tried to do the happy hour ones because I knew that, like, if I could get a beer or something, people might be a little bit more relaxed. I could get a little bit
Mhm.
more information and maybe I wouldn't be as shy because it's a bit more casual. Other networking events, I like the ones where they have like a speaker, and
Mhm.
whether it's on financial literacy or anything, I like to get information and then meet people, so it kind of serves two purposes that way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I've tried a couple of, I mean, I think it just kind of depends on what I'm there trying to do. But usually I like it to be set up where there's either like opportunities for everyone to like share out about themselves and their services, or like their organization or whatever. Um, or there's like, I mean, and I come from a nonprofit space, so
Hmm.
that's really what I know best. Or like a resource type of fair, because I like to, it's not just about the people connection to me, it's about like the whole picture connection. And so it's like I want to connect with people who work at organizations that will support the group that I work with, the community that I work with.
Hmm.
And so it's kind of like if you have like if the person is standing at a table with information about their agency or whatever, I can peruse that and move on if they're
Right.
not someone that I feel like can align with any of that. And then I'm not wasting their time either.
For sure. And I think, just a spark of an idea, if you think about it, there's a lot of networking for different types of groups, right? There's
Mhm.
networking for business professionals, nonprofits, teachers, things like that. I
Mhm.
wonder, I don't see it very much because I work in dental right now, but I don't really see it too much in the dental sphere unless it's organized by the company itself. But I don't ever
Mhm.
see like a dental company be like, hey, we're organizing this mixer.
Well,
Dentists come and
yeah,
hang out.
what I've noticed, and honestly, this trend is even growing in the nonprofit space, where it's not necessarily about like building partnerships, like agency to agency, but it is sort of that networking of getting to know like minded individuals.
Hmm.
I'm seeing more like associations or young professional type of groups. Maybe that's kind of where, like, maybe it's like a medical association or a dental association.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Because you don't really see it too much in trades work, you know?
mhm,
Um, I think honestly it would be good because then you can, one, see who else is working in your area, scout out competition, which you probably are doing in other networking areas as
mhm,
well. But it's a good way to just gather, like I said, gather information,
mhm,
um, what's going on, hear the rumor mill. It's probably not the best politically thing to do, but I mean, it's honest. That's how you know what's going on in different organizations. People talk, maybe if I'm considering this
Mm-hmm.
other business or organization, I want to know what's going on in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think too when you're able to mingle and get to know people who are even kind of in similar, maybe not in the same profession as you, but just the similar space as you can share kind of like tips and tricks. Just kind of grow, honestly, have people that you can have those coffee chats with because maybe it's like-minded individuals. I actually am on a young professionals group.
Hmm.
And it's a group that I probably wouldn't have ever met these people and been in like a working kind of relationship slash we're not necessarily like besties, but I would consider them like friends, like professional friends.
Hmm.
Um, but I would never have been in that space if I wasn't part of that young professional group. And they're from all different backgrounds, and so like I get a lot of insight into how other entities do things. Like there's some people that are more corporate in the group, and then I have more of a nonprofit experience. So like we're able to say like, well, in the nonprofit sphere, here's what it looks like, and corporates, this is pretty standard. And so we're able to kind of really, I guess, get new perspectives about things
Hmm.
to figure out the best approach for whatever it is. And usually we plan some of the fun events, like fundraising events for the nonprofit that we are part of.
Right. Networking is not just a way to like get yourself out there, but it's a way to resource
Mm-hmm.
yourself. This, like, have you heard of the 6 degrees of separation? Where basically this idea is a theory that between you and someone else out there that you don't know, 5 people in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that you guys are somehow linked to each other, whether just by knowing someone through someone else, a friend of a friend kind of scenario. And it's so
Mm-hmm.
important because you don't really realize that, this opportunity can come to me because I know someone, one of those 5 in between,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe reaching out to one of those 5 and saying, like, hey, just by the way, putting this out there, I'm looking for this type of job, or I'm looking for this type of resource.
Mm-hmm.
What is there anything you can think of? And that person's going
Mm-hmm.
to resource you to somebody else and somebody else, and there's that theory that there's
No,
always 5 people in between each other.
it's so true. I was just reminded. So after I was fired from
Hmm.
the job that you and I worked at together, that next week, I actually had been reached out, like multiple people reached out to me that were kind of like they were like acquaintances. I didn't really know them. Like we had maybe met for like a Zoom call or met at an event or whatever, but they were people that I just considered like acquaintances, really. And multiple people reached out to me about, oh, I just put your resume in front of so and so.
Oh.
And I was like, how do you even have my resume? Like, so it really was. And I think it was one of those things where someone in that circle who did happen to have my resume that I was a little bit closer to shared it with their people. And then, like, someone reached out to me that I had never met before and was like, 6 different people gave me your resume. And I was like,
That's wild.
what?
That's
And it was one
wild.
of those things where it's like, I just was not in the headspace at that time
Right.
to explore those opportunities. But it was really, in that time, it was really encouraging to me to know that these people that I had interacted with maybe once, twice, were passing on my information and saying, like, this is someone we should probably contact and get in touch with.
That's
Um,
that's awesome.
yeah.
That's the power of networking.
Yeah. No, it really was. I feel like I am a good networker. So I feel like I do usually have a maybe it's gotten a little smaller, but when I'm in that space, I feel like I do make an effort to get to know people in a variety of spaces.
Right.
So that way when I do need something, not just for myself, but for anyone, I can reach out and say, "Hey, do you know so and so?
Well, by the way,
Let's grab a coffee and chat."
I have so much to tell you. Yeah, and I think that, because LinkedIn is an obvious networking site.
Mhm.
You can see each other's connections. You can see who's viewing your profile, which is, a little bit creepy, but very nice at times. And but it's hard sometimes because you're like, oh well, it's free reign. I'm basically going to connect with every possible person that might be in there. So if you're not using it very tactically, I think it can just turn into another social media site where it's just like
Mhm.
you're seeing a bunch of posts, but it's not really helpful. Every once in a while, I have to go on my LinkedIn and just kind of go through my connections, and I'm like, okay, who's a true connection here?
Mhm.
And clean it up a bit, just so I'm allowing my feed to see the things that I need to see, so I'm professionally successful or in the resources I'm looking for, etc. But there's something I had learned before is like having a mastermind group. So it's like this idea of getting a group of peers that you have met through networking. Um, it's just a small group, right? Like maybe a group of six, including yourself. And these are people from different types of professions that can help you achieve your goals. These are not your friends, they're your professional connections.
Mhm.
And a way to have them have buy-in in whatever you're trying to do, whether it's your own independent business, your podcast, and have them give feedback on your stuff and what you're trying to do so that you're not siloing yourself out. And
Mhm.
also on that end, so you're not working alone as well.
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
so that could also be a tactful way of networking, is like, okay, I've met X amount of people over the last few
Mhm.
months. Who are the most valuable that I can have them buy into whatever I'm doing, and set aside in a meeting that we can get feedback off of them, and then I can move on.
No,
Um,
I love I've never heard it called that before, but I
mhm,
think that is so important for so many people. And I think that also helps us loop this back to our conversation we had previously about DEI. Because if you are someone who has this sort of, what did you call it, mastermind
mhm.
group, or group of, people that you respect their opinion or whatever, you want to make sure it's also a diverse community and would have voices represented in a variety of areas, especially if you're trying to identify business goals or podcast goals.
Marketing
You
groups.
Right, you would want to make sure that you are identifying appropriate ways to connect with those various communities if that's sort of in your target area. Obviously, not every business is going to target every single person out there. But if your goal is to target certain communities, you should have those voices
Hmm.
present in your mastermind group.
Yeah.
Um, so I love that. Look at us giving tips for inclusivity and
Tips and
diversity in
tricks.
your networking.
Yeah, and your networking.
Hmm.
And
I do think, though, just thinking in terms of businesses, corporations, nonprofits, professionals. I do think that right now, networking is a vital part to community building. And that might even mean that some people are having to kind of start from the ground up and partnerships or relationships, um, based on where they stand on some of this stuff, right? If you're a company that has said we're committed to DEI practices and initiatives, you would want to make sure that you're aligning yourself with relationships in the community and partnerships in the community that are equally invested and committed to that. So I do think that we're going to see a shift even in how people maybe network.
yeah, absolutely. I have heard some feedback without me even saying it. I mean, at work and through other people, just like their decision to boycott certain
Mm-hmm.
organizations because of the DEI rollbacks. And I think in the
Mm-hmm.
last week or so, we've definitely seen a lot more news on how it's impacting certain communities and how funding is being pulled from a lot of organizations, from
Mm-hmm.
grants, and how that is affecting those organizations. So, yeah, using the power of people in conversation and community is going to be much more powerful than I think a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
anticipate, because it's so important to have boots on the ground, to have people
Mm-hmm.
in the communities doing their work.
Yeah.
Um, and how else are you supposed to know what's going on if you're not out there? You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's directly going to impact your business. So, um, yeah, the power of knowing, the power of talking.
So, listeners, let us know your thoughts in the comments. We always love hearing from you guys. Be sure to catch us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you are listening to us on Apple, be sure that you are also giving us a rating. You can give us a rating on Spotify as well, but give us those ratings so that way we can be visible for other potential listeners. We would love for you to help us spread the word to the community because we are here and we are queer and we love chatting about coffee and work.
If you want some exclusive content, you can check us out on Patreon and join that coffee crew.
Yeah, we'll be having more exclusive content in the coming weeks, so be on the lookout for that. And of course, stay connected with us on the socials. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, LinkedIn, and Patreon. Okay, but before we go, Megan,
Okay.
some exciting
Let's hear it.
news.
We need it.
And we probably should have shared this in the beginning, but I don't know why I just needed to vent about being ghosted. But some exciting news, you guys. Not a Lonely Coffee Break will be at Dallas Pride in June.
Woo!
We will be there on Saturday. You can find us. We'll have a table somewhere at the festival. So be on the lookout. I know it's early still to be talking about this, but we're super excited that we are going to get to be there with everyone as part of the festival of vendors and exhibitors. So come network with us, check us out, find us, and chat with us. Bring your friends. We're really excited.
I'm excited. We're going to be giving away freebies, goodies. We'll probably make you laugh a little, free smiles.
Yeah,
But freebies
yeah.
and goodies will be the best part, obviously.
June 14th at Dallas Pride. But I am all out of coffee. I probably had way too much today.
Oh,
Um,
it was
I know
rainy, so,
it was a rainy day, and so it was just like called for more coffee. So that is our cue to wrap up. But thank you for joining us for Not a Lonely Coffee Break. We are your host. I'm Maddie,
And I'm Megan.
and we will see you next time.
Cheers,
Cheers,
queers.
queer.